Ahoy, shipmates! Bit of a land-based activity today, shipmates, where you find me at the ghost village of Imber, where we'll see tanks, abandoned houses, tanks, vintage buses, tanks, and unexploded ordnance. Not far from the port of Southampton is Warminster. Get yourself to Warminster, and that is where the shuttle buses take you to the centre of Salisbury Plain, where you can find the ghost village of Imber. Completely desolate, just the odd tank track here and there. There's also a route map for the buses. They actually go all over the place. They go through the Salisbury Plain and to various different villages around. All the buses are vintage route masters, although I've been reliably informed by some shipmates that some of them aren't just route masters, but I'm not an expert on buses. All of this area is not accessible to the public, and you can only gain access to the Imber village twice a year, I think, at the moment. Once in the summer via buses, and then also the MOD opened it up for villagers at Christmas time to go to the church. Very odd to have a bus interchange right in the middle of the Salisbury Plain. Local brass band provided some soothing tunes as we approach St Giles Church. Dates back from the 13th century. Imber was recorded in the Domesday Book with a settlement of only 7 houses. There were refreshments available inside the church, but the queue was massive. I think they need a more expedient delivery service of the teas and coffees. Got a prominent church. It's up on a hill, overlooks the village. You can imagine that being the focal point. Or maybe that's the pub. We'll see the pub shortly. Village of Imber was taken over by the Ministry of Defence for training for the Second World War. I'm a little unclear as to the detail. The residents were upset because they were all forced to leave, and I believe that the understanding was that they would be allowed back at some point, but that was never the case. As Imber is in the middle of Salisbury Plain, the MOD decided it was best to keep it as a training ground. Lots of complaints have been made, lots of battles, many debates in the Houses of Lords and so on. But I think the residents were paid for their properties, they just were never allowed back. Well, that's why the MOD allows them back to go and visit the churchyard, visit their graves and so on. And I think there was one remaining resident who was born in Imber who recently died. Lots of model buses on sale as well. I didn't realise how much of a bus rally this was. I was really there just to go to the village, but it was quite interesting to jump on some of these old buses. This is what they call the council estates. These are used for training soldiers. So what, you see more buses here than you do in the port of Southampton. What you don't see in the port of Southampton are signs alerting you to unexploded military debris. This estate was, some of these houses were built, some of them were original, and then some of these were actually built for pure training purposes. These were the ones that were built for training purposes along here, and there's another 8 council houses further down the road that were original. But most of the buildings have been heavily modified. Certainly some beautiful conditions, these coaches. Upkeep must be horrendous. Look how much bus there is to polish.
If we hadn't have done.
This is the old manor house. This was the big house in the village. I'm pretty sure it didn't come with a gun emplacement by the front gates originally. With barbed wire fencing. This is how it used to look. At some point, the top floor has been taken off. And there are, if you can get close to the village, the manor house, you can actually see lots of bullet marks around the brickwork. And I think there was some sort of damage caused, made the top floor was removed. These are the 8 council houses along here. Again, these have been modified somewhat. No windows, metal roofs. There you go, you can see them there. Again, constant interruption of buses, but they're all different shapes and sizes. This is a jolly little one. It's the short bus. And we get a double-decker. Now, I'm pretty sure that one's a route master. Oh. This is the village pub. Now, this probably is the heart of the centre of the village. As well as St. Giles Church, there's also the Baptist Church, which I was expecting a church, but there was absolutely nothing there whatsoever. This is the pub. Unexploded military debris, signs littered everywhere. So this is the churchyard for the Baptist Church, but there appears to be no building there whatsoever anymore. There are a couple of gravestones at the far end. It was very difficult to read anything on those. I was trying to get some information as to how old that was, but didn't find anything. It's almost impossible to read the gravestones. That one was 2003. The Bell Inn, 1840 to 1943. This is a... I was going to say this is a white bus or a cream coloured one. I think that's the one I came in on. It's got different windows. Welcome to Imber. Very welcoming sign from the Ministry of Defence. Danger, unexploded ordnance, do not touch. Disused tank holes are targets, not playgrounds. Please do not enter any of the buildings. Military training. Stick to the green designated routes. That's a real cheery sign, that, isn't it? This one's smashing, two-tone colours. I mean, if you have a vintage bus in your collection of vehicles, where do you keep it? It's not like having a vintage car, is it? You can't exactly park it in the garage. There was the odd modern bus as well. Eerily silent by comparison. I believe that one was hybrid. USA via TWA. I think the advertising is almost as old as the bus. I'm pretty sure this is the oldest one here. This looks bone rattling, is all best as I can describe this. Solid rubber tyres, a hand crank at the start, leaf spring suspension, solid axles. Definitely a bone-jarring ride down to Shepherd's Bush, according to the front. And it looks like a suicide staircase on the rear. 2 double rear tyres, both solid rubber. No tread on either. Imagine that passes MOT. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one, shipmates. Been meaning to get to the village of Imber for many years, and finally did it. Certainly a worthwhile day out if you do happen to find yourself in the Salisbury Plain area and you are interested in visiting the village, having a little day out, riding some vintage buses. I can wholeheartedly recommend it. Right, I'll just leave you with this sped up version of how to get to Imber village. Obviously you can't do this normally because the checkpoint will be closed. Well, hope you enjoyed that one, shipmates. Till next time.